Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Spoiler Warning. It is Friday and we will be going potentially a little bit shorter this time around because at around 5 AM tomorrow morning, so 7 hours from now, I will be on my way down to London for New Japan's Royal Quest show, so maybe slightly truncated, but we still have plenty of news to talk about. I already have people in the chat asking questions, and we will be talking primarily about Ronda Rousey now being the man of Smackdown. For those who aren't familiar with the term the man, before it was coined by Becky Lynch, it simply means top person and top push on that division, or in this case, that brand. So that's what I mean by the man. We will also, of course, be talking plenty more, a recap of the latest with Sasha Banks, and some more as regards Extreme Rules. Firstly though, we have some questions coming in already. Be sure to hit like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, that would do me big favours. Camo Gods has started by saying, I heard something about WWE being worried about tonight's Smackdown. Why would they be worried about tonight's Smackdown? What's different about it? I've not heard anything about this. Why would they be worried? That's completely out of nowhere. We'll also be talking Finn Balor, which is pretty fun one. Got a fun one coming there, got a fun one. Hello Brad, how you doing? Spider Boss has asked the same question twice, saying what are my thoughts on Soraya's promo? Could do with a bit of work, but to be fair, her time on the indies will likely get her back into the flow with promos. Omega is here, says Tom Colohue. Welcome, Omega. Spider-Boss says, what's next for the Usos? They're currently rebuilding the tag division with a view to creating some new competition. They will, of course, be coming through shortly. So I've been talking to a number of people backstage in WWE about who the big stars going forwards are. It's part of the whole conversation about the White Rabbit. It's part of the whole conversation about the return of Johnny Gargano. There's a lot going on right now, and a lot of people, myself included, are essentially trying to work out where Triple H's head is at. Who's going to get pushed? Who's going to get used? Who should we be keeping an eye on? This is all very, very important stuff. Now, to no one's real surprise, what I've heard and what I've been told is that in the absence of Roman Reigns, Triple H believes that their most marketable star is Ronda Rousey. That is not necessarily across both brands. This is very much for SmackDown. He's a big fan of Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, as we all know. But on the SmackDown side, he remains confident that Ronda Rousey is their top draw after Roman Reigns. He's continuing the push of Drew McIntyre, but Ronda will be the one around which things start to hover. This is why we've seen Adam Pearce's involvement and why Ronda Rousey is starting to essentially exist slightly outside of the law. This does spell very bad things for Liv Morgan going forwards. There is definitely a large collection of people backstage who are determined to see that championship come off Liv Morgan and on to Ronda Rousey. But there is also a concern that doing so long term would harm the chances of Ronda Rousey being well received. So there is every possibility of an escape and, as you might expect, a feud with Shayna Baszler. The idea is that Ronda Rousey will be the nucleus around which the women's division hovers in SmackDown, whereas on Raw, the women's division hovers around Bayley. We are going to see Ronda in a lot of draw segments going forwards, and this definitely strengthens the case for her to main event when it comes to the grand old world of Extreme Rules in a couple of weeks. Well, to be fair, in 8 days. One thing to touch on as regards Finn Balor, I saw the WrestleVotes report. I'll actually read what I said in the Discord here because I think it's very important to know exactly where my head is at. I saw WrestleVotes report that Finn Balor is in line for a big push. My prediction remains that Finn Balor will be picking up the win over Edge in some fashion. My expectation is that Rey Mysterio or Beth Phoenix will throw in the towel for Edge rather than Edge himself saying I quit. Now with this in mind, I do also have to point out there's only so far that Balor can go. Finn Balor is not going to be winning the championship from Roman. Finn Balor is unlikely to win the United States Championship from Bobby Lashley, meaning that the big push in question might just be beating Edge and having Judgment Day involved. Potentially Finn Balor and Damian Priest could compete with the Usos, but we have some pretty serious questions about whether or not that's viable when the Usos are simply not going to lose out on that opportunity. So, where can Finn Balor go? I also have to point out, and that's the reason I went out on Discord, I actually forgot why I was doing that. I asked the question, and can anyone here answer this? Quickly, can anyone help me? I'm seeing WrestleVotes say Balor is in for a big push. Didn't WrestleVotes also say exactly that when Balor moved to Raw and got forgotten about for months? As I recall, right before the most recent draft, when Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch moved over to helm Raw and ushered in the arrival of Cody Rhodes shortly afterwards, there was a report from WrestleVotes saying that Finn Balor was going to go over to Raw and become to Raw what Drew McIntyre was to SmackDown. That simply has not happened. So now a new report from WrestleVotes saying Finn Balor's in for a push. I don't entirely trust it. I'm sure you all understand. Spiderboss says, when we could see the first title defense of Io Sky and Dakota Kai? Soon. Sean says, hello there, Tom. Hello there, Sean. Spiderboss says, any update about the investigation of the all-out brawl? Not as of yet. The investigation may become a legal matter, as has been discussed. If that happens, it would become a police matter as evidence is gathered. Put simply, Tony Khan is trying to get in ahead of this by taking action before the investigation is taken out of his hands. At this point in time, the most likely scenario seems to be that the investigation will be taken out of his hands. Ed says, hello, Mr. Cookahue. Enjoy Royal Quest tomorrow. We'll miss you during SmackDown. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that. Hope you're well. We will not be hosting a SmackDown watch party tonight. As Ed there mentioned, I'm off to Royal Quest to New Japan in London, starting very early tomorrow, so I simply will not be here to do so. Khalid says, hey, Tom. Hello, Khalid. Austin says, so Fightful reported they're pretty sure White Rabbit is Bray. Okay, quick question. Is that a report? If someone says, oh, I think it's Bray, is that actually a report? Because I feel we need to question that. That's speculation. And I'm seeing people get immense credit for speculation, but if they're proven wrong, then they'll suddenly come out and say, oh, it wasn't a report. It was all speculation. Let's call a spade there. Monique says, hi, Tom, did you hear anything about Randy Orton retiring? Nope. I heard plenty about Randy Orton returning. Heard nothing about him retiring. Code says your thoughts on Saraya's promo and WWE mention. Not a great promo. Hello, Noob. How you doing? Callie says, hi, Tom. Hope you're well. Very well, thank you, Callie. And yourself. Spiderboss says, as an opinion, fan-made theories just because Sasha changed her social media handle to me was just a business move. Well, I've already released a full video explaining the exact situation as regards what has happened with Sasha Banks and why she made that change. Just to reiterate, for those who haven't seen the video, it's 3 minutes. By all means, please check it out. What I will say is that this was indeed a business move. It was the intention to change the Sasha Banks character and identity to being a character rather than her entire personality. The Mercedes brand is going to take off very shortly, and over the course of today, after I'd already reported that, you will have seen on social media the brand building. Khalid says, Tom, do you think Finn Balor will defeat Edge? Yes. Venom says, hi, Tom. Hi, Venom. Richard says, hello, Tom and all. Hello, you and everyone as well. Venom says, I put the word out to a few of my friends about your channel. They said they would check it out tonight. Very good, Venom. I appreciate that. Thank you. Spiderboss says, Bayley and Io Sky and Dakota Kai are the biggest draw in WWE after Roman. Not true. Becky Lynch comes immediately after Roman. Ronda Rousey is in and around that position as well. Bayley, Io Sky and Dakota Kai, not even close comparison. Good evening, traffic. How you doing? Austin says, I can so see Shayna either helping Ronda or turning, or maybe the reason why Shayna's been off for a few weeks. Certainly seems to suggest that the intention is that you'll forget about Shayna a little bit, which I think is the right way to do it, personally. I think that's the right way to do it. Once you've sort of forgotten about Shayna, her making an appearance is more of a surprise. Sean says, did you see the report from Wrestling Observer newsletter about the concern by WWE for the severity of Randy Orton's back injury? Dave Meltzer has been saying that the entire time. All messages coming out of the WWE are that Randy Orton will return soon. Simon says, the hate on Saraya is absolutely ridiculous. The fans should give her a break. She's only been back a week. That's not how it works, mate. A bad promo is a bad promo. Now, admittedly, on social media, she's getting a lot of hate, and it's unnecessary. But Twitter is not life. I need to point that out. Twitter's not live, and you certainly won't see her getting the same hate here. Everyone who's asked about Saraya has just asked about Saraya. People may come in here and share their opinions, and they're entitled to that. No one is coming here jumping down anyone's throats, and you know that. Spider-Boss says Ronda as a man isn't a shot on Becky the Man Lynch. No, because if you're familiar with wrestling as a whole and its history, the Man is not a name exclusive to Becky Lynch. The Man is Roman Reigns. The Man was Steve Austin. The Man was John Cena. That's what Ronda Rousey is going to be. Also, if you read the full title, you'll notice it mentions SmackDown. Sean says thoughts on Candice LeRae's debut on Raw. Certainly was not the most warmly received because a lot of people in that audience aren't really aware of Candice LeRae. She's not really wrestled much on the main roster. She's not been a main eventer in NXT. A lot of people genuinely weren't aware of who she was. What I will say is that the more she wrestles, the more they will be. Khalid says, do you think Charlotte Flair will return at the Women's Royal Rumble? No, personally I believe she'll return before. Simon says, I cannot watch Ronda Rousey. I blame her associate for Sasha's situation. She is in no way to blame for anything regarding Sasha. She did not force Sasha Banks to walk out. She did not even discuss walking out with Sasha Banks. There is no blame for Ronda Rousey for anything to do with Sasha Banks. Raymond says, how are you, Tom? Hope all is well. Very well, thank you. Very well indeed. Had a very good time with the family recently. Going out to a nice restaurant next week that I'm really excited about. One of them will eat the plainest, most boring pepperoni pizza and she'll only eat half of it. But the other one will really enjoy it. You know, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. Other than that, we continue to grow very well on YouTube. September is shaping up to be our second biggest month of growth since we started, after only August, when we had SummerSlam build. Well, we didn't have SummerSlam build in August, did we? We had Clash and we had the aftermath of SummerSlam build. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. And in addition to that, I'm just in a very good place right now. So I appreciate you checking in there, Raymond. All is well, and hope all's well with you. Jonesy says, evening team. Do you still see a White Rabbit stable debuting next weekend? I don't believe I've ever said that a White Rabbit stable will debut next weekend. I think you've combined my reporting with Fightful's reporting, which is not the same thing. Just want to be clear there. I've never said I see a White Rabbit stable debuting next weekend. Though if it did, I think it would be great to see Mustafa Ali involved in the I Quit match, taking over Judgment Day as the White Rabbit and starting a feud of Edge. All I'm saying. Spider-Boss says Judgment Day have looked good since Triple H is in charge. The stable look legit. They do. They also looked legit when Edge was in charge of it. So I think it very much comes down to, is there someone in the writing room singing their praises? Sean says, what do you mean about Ronda becoming the Man? Well, as I just explained, I'll reiterate slightly because I know that you've asked that before I reiterated it. The Man is not exclusive a term to Becky Lynch. The Man is considered the biggest draw on the program. And in the absence of Roman Reigns, Ronda Rousey is the biggest draw on SmackDown. That's the belief of several people backstage and, from best I can tell, Triple H himself. Venom says, I've got a feeling we're not getting Sasha back full time. That is indeed your feeling. Jonesy says, do you think it's breadcrumbs next weekend at pay-per-view or full reveal? I think it'll be breadcrumbs as long as the viewership keeps going up. Simon, historically, you've told me several times you only watch WWE when Sasha Banks is involved, so why would it matter to me if you watch Ronda Rousey? Hello, Michael. How you doing, mate? Jonesy says, is Saraya cleared or will she just be a manager or women's GM? She is not cleared at this point in time, to my knowledge, but she has been promised on several occasions, and she signed the AEW contract under the provision that she would be treated by an independent examiner who will likely clear her. Callie says, it'd be so funny if the White Rabbit refers to Adam Rose. It would, and I don't hate that. Don't hate that. Spider-Boss says, if Ronda ends up defeating Liv for the title, I hope fans don't turn on Ronda once she becomes champion again. I suspect they will, and there is concern about that, hence the involvement of Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler could certainly get in the way of that one. Jonesy says, what's your take on Zero News? Fake or lucky guesses? Bit of both. Bit of both. They definitely have a source. They definitely do. Someone who gives them the rundowns and the show sheets, as it were. Also, they definitely sign up to a lot of the pay sites and get a lot of news there and use that news, report it for free, and get a lot of credit that way. So that's two ways in which they're reporting accurate news. However, Pete Dunne? Not Pete Dunne. Kevin Dunne. Now, I've spoken about Kevin Dunne here before. I've spoken about the fact that Kevin Dunne is someone that Triple H doesn't necessarily want to work with and kicked out of NXT 2.0 as quickly as he could. However, Kevin Dunne still has significant control over the company and, at least at this point in time, is still in place. Nick Khan is a Kevin Dunne supporter. Kevin Dunne has not gone anywhere. So, I think it's a combination of lucky guesses, accurate information, and outright falsehoods. Matthew says, any updates on if the Usos will have a match at Extreme Rules? Dave said a match has been discussed for them at Extreme Rules. A match is being discussed for them. It has not been formalised at this point in time. The idea seems to be that they are testing the water with several different teams. Hit Row is being discussed as a potential challenger, but Triple H is happy with 6 matches, so I suspect they will leave it there. Aled says, when will we see Sasha and Naomi back? Do you know? No. Hector says, Tom, rumour has it that Triple H tried to fire Kevin Dunne but couldn't get his hands on him because the camera angle kept changing. I like that. Every time he tried to get him, he was just like, oh, zoom in, oh, zoom out, oh, I'm not here. Horrible stuff, and I made myself dizzy just doing that. Please remember to hit like and subscribe if you haven't, as we continue to grow the channel. Rob says, enjoy seeing Jay White and company live. I cannot wait. I've washed and ironed and got my Jay White shirt hung up for the past 2 weeks, waiting for the moment when I can take it off the hanger, fold it up and pack it into a backpack, admittedly. I don't know why I bothered ironing it. And then wear it for the man himself. Not long till Knife Pervert, guys. Not long till Knife Pervert. Richard says, Tom, now that Candice has debuted, will she be used as a single wrestler with a chance at the title reign or just to fill a spot? At the moment, she'll be filling a spot at War Games. She brings in some experience in that regard, but she will be a singles wrestler going forwards. She's not formally uniting with Bianca Belair. She's just uniting temporarily. Candice LeRae will be a singles wrestler. And for those who weren't aware, the only wrestling journalist or wrestling news site to report anything about Candice LeRae's impending return, hi. Be sure to hit subscribe. Jonesy says, who do you see as the teams in the 2 War Games matches? Well, we have 4 of the Bianca Belair team, though Bianca Belair herself may not be directly involved in War Games if we still have champion versus champion. There is certainly a possibility of Bianca versus versus Ronda, for example. But Damage Control and the Bloodline will make up the core of both War Games matches. Brandon says Triple H has been booking Damage Control pretty well, if you ask me. I agree entirely. Simon is throwing up the Bullet Club. You have to go underneath because they got sued. Spider-Boss says Sasha was on the red carpet of one event of her personal business. Well, everything is her personal business, mate. But yeah, she's working in modelling. She is working as an actress. All of these things will continue, and that's why the Mercedes brand is expanding. There is an intention to build the Mercedes brand to be competitive with brands such as the Kardashians. George says, any new plan for Sami Zayn? If you would Jey Uso, maybe. Greetings from Chile. Greetings. I don't know if it's George or George. By all means, correct me if I get it wrong. Plans for Sami Zayn involve continuing with the bloodline, at least for now. James Stewart says, to be the man, you've got to beat the man. WrestleMania 39. And no, Ric Flair will never wrestle for the WWE again. Joey says, hey Tom, is Tyler Breeze returning to the WWE? Tyler Breeze has already technically returned to WWE. He has a contract purely of up, up, down, down. That contract has been discussed as potentially expanding to a full-time return to wrestling. Stewart says, evening Tom, had an out the box thought yesterday that White Rabbit could be Sasha and Naomi. Not likely, but it made me think about it. Why not? Brandon says, this is the weakest Io Shirai I've seen. They need to change that. They cannot book her this week. They can. They absolutely can. She's there in that faction to be a loser, as is Dakota Kai. When people come up to the main roster under Triple H, they're not going to be winners. They're going to be losers until they work their way up. That's how it's going to work from now on. Simon lies about Sasha. Sasha is not the biggest draw in the WWE. That is simply false. Spider-Ball says, who's the best foreign player you've seen in the Premier League? De Bruyne. Ross says, slightly behind by 10 minutes, Tom. Slightly worried because certain wrestlers might not be able to make SmackDown because of Hurricane Ian. As long as everyone is safe, that's the main thing. Completely agree. That's the most important thing. They have plenty of wrestlers in reserve. They can book themselves an emergency show if need be. Joey says, I don't like the way Io and the coach have been booked, both taking pinfalls while tag champs. As I say, that is the Triple H standard. When you first get called up, you are at the bottom of the pack. they are protecting Bayley by taking losses for her. Tino's Time says, what's up, Tom? What's up, Tino? How you doing, mate? Great to see you. Jonesy says, well, will we see the Demon soon? Unlikely. Finn Balor not a big fan of the Demon as it's being booked by the WWE. Maybe a little more under Triple H. We'll see how it plays out. Spider-Boss says, Bianca versus Bayley in a ladder match. Do you see Bianca retaining? Yes, for now. For now. Jonesy says, do you see Bobby Lashley turning heel after the tease on Raw? Nope, he's being pushed very well right now, and I like what's happening. I still want to see Lashley versus Gunter, and I still want to see Lashley versus Roman. Keep him as a face. Dominic Perez says, hi Tom, is Roman going to put the WWE title on the line at the Rumble? Yes, he is. He's also going to put another championship on the line as well. Bet you don't know which one. Sean says, did you see the video Malachi Black put out on his Instagram denying all the rumors about him? Yes, not the first time he's done that. Simon, Sasha Banks is not the biggest draw in the WWE. Couldn't care less what you're saying there. You're wrong. She's not the biggest draw in the WWE. She's not bigger than Roman. She's not bigger than Ronda. She's not bigger than Seth. She's not bigger than Becky. Raymond says, with Candice's interaction with Damage Control, do you see Candice will be involved with War Games? Yes, exactly true. Simon, shout all you want. You keep shouting, you will get quietened down. You are wrong. Provably so. Tino says, if Adam Rose was a white rabbit, the internet would go crazy. Yes, it would, but I would hope they don't make their booking decisions based on let's make the internet go crazy. Spider-Boss says, which match are you most excited for? Bianca versus Bayley or Liv versus Ronda? I'm most excited for Liv versus Ronda. I think Liv is going to be able to step up in a big way here. I really do, and I'm excited to see what she's capable of in that sort of element. Michael says, Zero News got everything wrong about Clash of the Castle. Yep. As I say, they have sources who give them information about the Raw and SmackDown rundown. And they sign up to a lot of news sites and paywalls, which they can then use as their own information. They do have some accurate information. However, as I said way back when people started asking this very question, give them 3 months, take note of everything they report, see how much is true. I would imagine what you got was about 40%. For me, that's not big enough. Thomas says, hi Tom, what have I missed? Talk about Ronda becoming the man of SmackDown, a little bit on Finn Balor, and more. Raymond says, because of Candice's interaction with Damage Control, do you see being... I've already answered that one, yes. John says, hey Tom. Hey John. On the Rumble poster, Brock and Roman are in front. I hope they don't do that match with Rousey and Belair behind them. So I think those two will be women's champs. Likely at this point, yes. However, the Royal Rumble doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to be champions, and it's not a definite lineup of all of the people who will be involved in the match. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar will be involved, and they are very, very strong draws for the company, so they get to be on the poster. Brandon wants to see Damage Control booked a lot better. The point of Damage Control is to protect Bayley, so in that regard, it's doing exactly what it should be doing. Venom says, to be honest, the Bray returning topic is just bad joke now. So exhausting how many times I got to hear it. Fans really have decided that they know exactly what's going on with Bray. They don't. Khalid says, Tom, I hope Charlotte Flair returns at the Women's Royal Rumble. Do you think so? No, I think she returns before that. Devil says, tensions rising between Sammy and Jay. Anything going to happen between them? Yes. Spider-Boss says, I never get why the crew keep asking for Sasha. The ones who watch spoiler warning know Sasha and Naomi's return is imminent. Yep. There's reports really far back that they've signed new contracts. They're on the way, as it were. And they are, but they have plenty of stuff to do first. And Sasha, right now, is doing great things for the WWE. She's becoming a bigger and bigger star. When she returns, the whole world will be watching. And that's okay. Sean says, I believe Candice is undefeated in the War Games match. See how long that lasts. See how long that lasts. Joey says, if Mustafa Ali leads a faction, will it be like Retribution except booked better? I think if you had Retribution but booked better, it'd be a hell of a lot better. Ed said, Johnny really is showing everyone the way. And he is. Hence why we had the return of Dexter Lumis, Candice LeRae. And of course, we still have Austin Theory in and about. Thank you kindly, Ed, for renewing your subscription on the Twitch side for a 19th month. I very much appreciate it. Thank you kindly, sir. Literally, first follower. The first follower on Twitch. The first subscriber on Twitch. First subscriber on YouTube. Mod extraordinaire. Thank you, sir. Monique says, I had a feeling Raw's backstage segment was a taste of War Games. It was indeed. Steve Englund says, can we confirm that the White Rabbit gets revealed at Extreme Rules at this point? Nope. That is unconfirmable. I know Fightful reported it. I personally haven't heard anything about it. So I can't see here and confirm anything. Hector says, Tommy also under the belief that the whole free El Idolo thing that Andrade has been posting on Twitter is just smoke because it's been known to troll. Yeah, he's pretty happy in AEW at this point in time. Hogan says, any chance that the Cruiserweight title could return? Nope. Callie says, will Indy be moved up? Yep. Venom says, when will Indy be moved up? Soon. Brandon says, no Damage Control should look a lot better. They need to book that team a lot better. Once again, it's doing exactly what they intend for it to do. If they are constantly beating everyone, people will be complaining that, oh, Raquel and Shotzi are being buried. So it's a bit of a toss-up. This is the Triple H way. We are all going to have to get used to it because this is how he's going to do it. Angel Lucia says, is Meltzer report true on Randy Orton? I have heard nothing about Randy Orton potentially retiring, but I've heard plenty about Randy Orton returning soon. James Stewart says, Ronda versus Becky. Still talking about Flair. Should have stayed out of the ring after the Michaels match. Yeah. I agree entirely there. Will says, if Damage Control are in War Games, will it be 3 people or 4 people? It'll be 5 people. It will be 5 people. Alyssa says, going to see Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns WrestleMania 39. Hope not The Rock. We will not be seeing The Rock, to my knowledge, as of yet. He is not signed on to a match for the WWE. Connor says, hey Tom, hope your day was good. Very good, thank you. Immediately after this, I'll be jumping into bed. Essentially, I'll be packing, I'll be snacking. I also attack. And getting ready to go down to London for Royal Quest. There will not be a watch party today, just to be clear. Steve, debatable. Without De Bruyne, is he still that good? Joey says, are the reports about Malachi leaving false, or is he just denying that he's still under contract? He's denying that he left the company. He's denying outright that he left the company. Alyssa says, do you think Cody Rhodes is a bigger draw than Sasha Banks? Nope. Spider-Boss says, Zero News were the ones who told Sasha and Naomi were on Raw when Raquel and Aaliyah won their women's tag team titles. Yeah, but they run out of time. So what they've done is push them back 2 months. Sure. Simon says, has the talk cooled off on Sasha and Naomi returns because of Mercedes wanting to own the Sasha name brand IP intellectual property? No, if anything, the return talk has sped up because an agreement has been reached. Kervin says the Raw Women's division got strong, but SmackDown Women's division needs to get fixed. I don't entirely agree with that, but I think the fact that they're bringing Damage Control over and using them on SmackDown is not the greatest of options. Thomas says, do you think that Sasha and Naomi will return together or separate? Together and then separate. Spider-Boss says, I see Candice showing Theory the way. Alex says, is Saudi the next time we see Roman? Yep. Richard, well, the next time we see him wrestle. Richard said, is Saray still with NXT? To my knowledge, yes. Just not wrestling right now. Venom said, if Alba Fire loses, I hope she gets called up. There's nothing else to do for her in NXT if she doesn't win. Certainly, we could potentially see her in a ladder match that she's not in. Simon says, Sasha, a mainstream celebrity Hollywood star known for Star Wars, but Becky's a bigger draw. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Yes, she is. She's also a pretty well-known celebrity. Just so you know. You seem to keep forgetting this. Becky is also a pretty big name and has pretty big mainstream potential and mainstream exposure. Bigger mainstream exposure than the WWE are even expecting. Simon, you're wrong. Sean says, with Candice now on the main roster, Indy Hartwell's call-up is imminent. Yep. Khalid says, Tom, if Brock returns to WWE, well, he will, what do you want him to do when he comes back? Wrestle and lose to either Sheamus or Gunter, or Sheamus and Gunter. Traffic says, the longer Sasha is away, I feel like she's taken the old Brock Lesnar approach, become a 10-time bigger star outside the WWE, and it just hugely benefits everyone involved. That is exactly what she's doing, and exactly what they want her to do. Joey says, what is the plan for LA Knight? He is going to become LA Knight, move away from Maximum Male Models, and then Maximum Male Models will, who knows, they'll make it up as they go along. Ross says, we have Imperium versus Fight Night for Extreme Rules. That's the match. That's going to be a hell of a match, and I'm thrilled to know it's coming. Conrad, how you doing, mate? Says, hello, Tom. How's things? Very, very good. Thank you, sir. Very good. I've been dropping into a few of your shows lately and just sort of checking out, even if I'm just sort of floating and lurking. Always good for people. So I've been dropping into a couple of yours lately. Good to see you doing well. And I'm doing very well, thank you. Sean says, I'd love to see Shotzi beat Bayley tonight, but I know it won't happen. No, Bayley is the final boss. You don't beat Bayley. Spider-Boss says, for example, people complain because the Bloodline always win. Damage Control is doing well protecting Bayley. It's good to see that we have different opinions, and obviously, naturally, we're all respecting them, but this is the norm from here. We are going to see more losses for people who aren't Roman Reigns, Bayley, Ronda, etc. Eric says, Tom, the chance of this is slim to none. What if Ryback was the rabbit? A lot of pissed off people, I tell you that. Venom says, just want to say these videos make me feel a lot better after a crap day. Sorry you've had a crap day, mate. Glad to know I can make you feel a little bit better. Glad you're enjoying it. King James says, hey Tom, keep up the great work. Any news about the rebrand for NXT? Will they bring back TakeOver? Me and PLE on the road, not in CWC. On the road is questionable. They are looking at different sites for expansion. They want a bigger office, essentially. They want to go back to something resembling Full Sail. We will have TakeOver style shows. However, they will not necessarily be called TakeOver. Triple H still kind of teasing the idea of in your house again. Anthony says, hi Tom, and how you doing, mate? We're doing okay. Didn't have any major flooding where we live in Florida due to a hurricane. I'm very glad to hear that, sir. Only had a few trees down and power was out for a couple of days. Thank God. I'm very glad to hear that. Hope everyone suffering under Ian is doing okay. And if anyone does want to reach out at any point, you know where I am, okay? You know where I am. Spider-Boss says, when we could see MJF cashing his chip on Jon Moxley, whenever the hell he wants. Hector says, imagine if we get Index versus Miz and Maurice at some point. Would be a good way to get Indy involved, and it makes sense, especially with the rated R superstar element. The romantic entanglement could work, and I'd like it. King James is suggesting that people hit the like button. I'm going to suggest that James, he meant button there. We do have 89 viewers and 31 likes at the moment. If you've not done so yet, please do remember, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are currently at 1,662 subscribers. 1,662, which is a pretty good place to be. And I'm very happy with that. But the more, the merrier. Sean says, any news on Tiffany Stratton? Hasn't been seen in NXT since a loss to Wendy. Still in development, still working out what to do with her, still on a bit of creative hiatus while they work it out. Eddie, welcome, mate. Says, how about the Good Brothers, Andrade, Miro, Murphy and Black? What about them? What about any of them? To my knowledge, they're all under contract for other places. Tommy says, what will Cena's final match be against? Whoever is hot at the time who Cena can put over. Venom says, how long will it be until he goes back to LA Knight? However long they want it to be. Khalid says, good luck, Tom. I hope you enjoy your first New Japan. I watch a lot of New Japan, mate. A lot of New Japan. Conrad says, always lurking. Happy podcast day. I am always lurking, Conrad. You, Radio Techers, SCW. I lurk in a lot of places. Anything I can do to boost that watch time, I tell you. Alex says, do you think Roman holds 2 titles walking into Mania? At this point, yes, I do. Joey says, is Carmelo Hayes going to get called up, or is he winning the North American title again? Likely he wins back the North American title. He is potentially looking at a call-up. The match against Ricochet was a bit of a tryout. However, they're looking at... This is going to sound a bit silly. They're looking at building the crossover potential and expanding his social media presence first. The WWE does consider social media presence and impact when looking at who to call up. Jay Quick, how you doing, mate? Says, hi Tom, any update on the WWE Hulu deal yet? Not as yet at the moment. The WWE is still looking at different options for different streaming services who have put forward a number of different offers. At this point, they're waiting on a good offer. Thank you, Thomas. I have high expectations of New Japan, and I suspect they're going to be met. Callie says, can't wait for LA Knight to return. The Max character is awful. Disagree. I like Max Dupree. I like it. I think it's a shame we're immediately abandoning it when it's working. Eric says, thoughts Team Liv versus Team Ronda War Games. Not happening. War Games is being built around Damage Control, which is, of course, meaning Bayley. That doesn't mean that Team Liv could not be Team Damage Control, though. Worth pointing out. Dimitar says 0 reported, which is already enough for me to stop reading because, as we spoke about earlier, I've been tracking Zero News for a while now. About 40% roughly is what they're getting. Richard said Extreme Rules is going to be a really great show. I agree. The fact that we're all extreme, I'm excited for. Hector says, Tom, you've mentioned that Alba Fire was Kaylee Ray's prior ring name. To be honest, I like her better now. She seems like a bigger deal, more intense. There's lots of fire, which is badass as well. A lot of people big fans of Kaylee Ray. I'm a big fan of Kaylee Ray. She's a very, very good interview, and I really enjoyed both interviews that I've had with her. I do think she's a surefire call-up sooner rather than later. Steve says, do we know of adjustments made to tonight's SmackDown given the potential travel woes getting away from Ian? No adjustments at this point in time. Nothing's been made that I'm aware of, but there are some fallback options ready to go. Spiderboss says, do you see Batista headlining the 2023 Hall of Fame? No. Sean says, The Miz praised Grayson Waller, saying Grayson Waller is everything you want in a main event WWE superstar. The Miz may be building a faction. Joey says the Zero News guy tends to make a lot of excuses when his reporting is wrong about something. Yep, and that's the big sign for me. The big sign for me when not to trust someone is, do they say, I got that wrong? Do they say, I got that one wrong? Because if they don't, I don't trust them immediately. I don't trust them. You'll see people make all sorts of gymnastics trying desperately to get out of stuff, pretending they were right all along. All sorts of people. The latest thing on the paywalls that I've seen is, I've been told that, because then they can escape saying this will happen, because then they might get sued when they're wrong. Noob says, who's going to turn heel, Asuka or Alexa Bliss? Why does anyone have to turn heel? There's plenty of people that can wrestle. Why can't we all just get along? Alex says, do you think we see Cena at Mania maybe versus Theory? Maybe. Maybe is a good word. Spiderball says, who's your favourite Bullet Club leader? Jay. Knife pervert any day of the week. No question. Joey says, do you know what the status is for NXT UK talent that haven't appeared yet on NXT US? Yep, most of them are gone. Some of them have been retained but haven't been able to make the trip yet because of other issues. Things essentially keeping them here in the UK. Also, a lot of people don't want to come to go to the US. They want to stay here. Venom says, I don't think Tony was actually injured against Wesley. That may have just been a way to protect him from a pin, unless I got it wrong. Haven't seen it, would not know. Eric, nobody's discussing Peacock. It is a WWE Hulu deal that we've been discussing. John says, I'd like to see Andre Chase win the North American title. It would definitely be a teachable moment. Ethan says, hey Tom, any new news on White Rabbit? All of the news on White Rabbit we have covered already. There is nothing in particular to discuss further. I know there's a report out from Fightful. We are not Fightful here. I have shared my opinions that it's not Bray Wyatt. I can't see Bray Wyatt communicating in QR codes. And I have given certainly my opinion who it might be. John said, is there a reason why Brock Lesnar doesn't use social media? Yeah, he doesn't want to. Spiderball says, personal opinion, I like Max Dupree. Sister Maxine Dupree. I like Max Dupree. I also like Max Dupree. That's fair. Raymond says, love the Sammy Solo combination. Do you see the Shawn Diesel comparison? Every big guy, little guy is compared to Shawn Diesel. I think it's unnecessary. Noob Killer Forever says, hi Tom, since Drew and Roman have unfinished business, they do not have unfinished business. A rematch is not planned. They will be kept apart for quite a long time now. Rizal says, I like all three, but something about Damage Control is off, like their chemistry and their characters don't mesh. Disagree. Eric says, what does Dexter want with The Miz? No idea. Martin says, just came to say hello Tom. Hope you're having a good day, my friend. Always watch your news videos. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate that. I'm glad to see you enjoying the content. It's always really nice to hear that you're having a good time. Venom says, they always say Miz is only a 2-time Grand Slam champ. That's a lot of crap. Ray and Dolph have also won every title more than once. Yeah, but that's the main reason why The Miz says it. Because if The Miz is being dishonest, oh well, he's a heel. Spiderboss says, do you see Bron Breakker losing at Halloween Havoc? No, but I see him not having a championship afterwards. King James, he says, will we get Nikki Cross soon? Maybe. I don't really like Nikki Ash, but Nikki Cross, as she was in NXT, is not main roster ready. Plus, why can't we get Gargano versus Owens versus Theory for the briefcase and return? I think that will give a boost in credibility a little bit. Because competing for the briefcase absolutely massively undermines the Money in the Bank concept. You're supposed to have it no matter what. Hector says, Tom, please tell me you saw Bron Breakker do Steiner Math. I did. I did see Bron Breakker do Steiner Math. I love how he paused to just soak it in. It was a lot of fun. Stuart says, Kaylee Ray needs to be brought up. She'd be able to have some banging matches with a few of the established main card crew. Yes, she would. Naturally, as I've mentioned, having been called up, she will likely be taking losses. That's true, Spider Boss. I've also seen that. Brandon says, I think damage control needs to be a lot more deadly and need to do a lot more stuff to steal matches. If they're bad guys, show that you're bad guys. Doing that a ladder match will certainly fit the bill. Joey says, I don't know why people want AEW to sign Juice, Robinson and Bandito when the roster is already bloated. They will get lost in the shuffle. Yeah, but the idea is that let's get better people and forget all those people, but not those people. But not those people. Not those people. But those people, you know, those people, that guy likes those people, I don't like those people. The idea is everyone who isn't my personal favourite sucks. Everyone who isn't my personal favourite is trash. Basically, people be dumb. Alex says, do you think they're dragging the Loomis-Miz story and should they give us a reason why Loomis is targeting Miz soon? Well, the more you ask questions, the more you tune in, so no. Venom says, Bayley's 380-day title reign is a lie. Held the title up until Hell in a Cell and lost it to Charlotte. No matter how fast you win the title back, once you lose it, your title reign starts over. Yeah. Yeah, that second title reign is the 380-day one. I believe. Because she won it back just after SummerSlam and she eventually lost it the next year at Hell in a Cell. She was champion for more than a year. Richard says, Tom, who do you think is ending both Braun and Mandy's title reigns? As I've said for a little while now, Tyler Bate and Roxanne. Sean says, what do you think happens when Cora and Roxanne are on the Grayson Waller effect on NXT next week? No idea. Spiderboss says, recently on WWE Table for Free features the Steiners. Scott told Braun, stop copying my shit, and that's exactly what he did, regardless. Will says, I think people need to be patient with the return of Sasha and Naomi. When the time comes, it will come. Agreed. Venom, if you're not sure, chances are you're probably wound up over nothing. Joey says, Austin Theory's been on a losing streak as of late. Is this a part of the storyline or is he losing the briefcase? Neither. It's basically exactly what happens every time someone wins the briefcase. They go on a losing streak because the WWE know that when they cash it in, they immediately get all their heat back. King Xander says, I'm late. Any Sasha updates? Yes, I posted a video about that yesterday. Check it out. Spiderboss says, Bayley told in her interview with WWE Germany she would love to main event WrestleMania with Sasha Banks. Of course she did. If you're asked, who do you want to main event WrestleMania with, you'd say someone who you historically have great matches with. Venom, once again, if you're not sure, that's not a great sign. Keith O'Toole says, will they put Miz Pac in the title picture on Raw? No. KJ says, what's up, Tom? What's up, KJ? Hope you're well, mate. Now, as you guys know and I've mentioned a couple of times, tomorrow, around 5 a.m, I start travelling to London, which is a long trip, about a 5-hour trip in a car, all the way to London, and then I'll be off to watch Royal Quest Night 1 and Night 2. So, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm just going to wrap it up there and then move on. So I want to say huge thanks to everyone who's dropped in, asked questions and the like. We peaked at 96 viewers and 40 likes. We will be back for Monday with spoiler warning, and there is plenty more stuff coming in the build to Extreme Rules. So, you'll be seeing a lot more of me shortly, but there'll be no watch party tonight, and this is it for spoiler warning. So thank you. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you so much for the well wishes, everyone.